Coming on now.
Okay. Let's go to
All
school.
right, we are live. Hey everyone, how you doing?
Good afternoon, Commissioner.
Oh yes, he's on here. The commissioner's. Hey, how you doing,
Hi.
Commissioner Holness?
I actually good. I'm leaving GEM, uh, Global Empowerment Mission. I was helping to box items to send to Haiti,
That's
Oh,
amazing.
and
amazing.
lost track of time. And I'm on the road. I just one of my folks called me to remind me about this, so I'm gonna pull over because I'm doing it from my phone. So I'll pull over in a minute.
Okay, dokie.
So I'm not that distracted.
Sure. So
But I
while
wanted
you're
to
pulling
make sure
over,
that
we're
I'm on.
gonna. So while you're pulling over, we're gonna go ahead and introduce ourselves and talk about our show. So we're
Okay.
back again. We are here. Sandra Sheffer, our co-host. My name is Narnik Nikki Grant. I'm your co-host. And as you know, we've been advertising and letting you all know that we're gonna have Commissioner Holness come on, who is also a candidate for the District 20 race. And we will also have a few other people from that race coming to see us and have a little bit of talk. So we are here to discuss, what are the visions of these candidates for the District 20. We wanted to talk about a couple of things that are happening up in Washington and what their thoughts are on that, as well as some tough questions that some of us may have. We will have the opportunity to read your comments in the chat and relay it to the commissioner, and we'll take it from there. So we'll give the commissioner some time to pull over. We're gonna send it over to Sandra so she can introduce herself, and then we'll start our show.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sandra Sheffer. I am one of the co-hosts of Race and the Races, and we have an opportunity to speak to Commissioner Dale Holness, who is one of the 11 Democratic candidates for Congressional District 20 race. This is one of the most coveted seats that's in the congressional race this legislative session. This is a special session because of the passing of Alcee Hastings, who held the seat for over 20 years. So we believe that whoever wins the seat during the special election most likely will win the seat in 2022. That's why it is so important that everyone put their best foot forward and try to get the people to know who they are, what it is that they want to do for the residents of this district, which covers parts of Broward and Palm Beach County. So yes, we're here to speak to Commissioner Holness, candidate for Congressional seat District 20. Yes, we would like to give an opportunity to discuss his platform, what it is that he wants to do for the residents of Broward and Palm Beach County when he takes a seat in Washington, D.C.
That's if he takes a seat in Washington, D.C. There's 11 people in the race now.
Yeah, 11, and all of them believe that they're going to win. So
you have the floor, Commissioner Holness. Give us a little bit about your platform, your vision for District 20, and then if we have some comments in the chat, we'll ask you those questions. Whenever you're ready, Commissioner Holness, have you pulled over safely? Can you hear us, sir?
I think he might be adjusting with his phone.
Yeah, I think he's trying to get we lost him. He'll probably jump back on, folks. And so give us a few minutes to kind of get this all together. He was coming from another event where he was helping with the relief for Haiti. And now he is in his car, so hopefully he'll jump back on and then we can get to our questions. So far, I see a couple of people in the chat putting some questions too. We'll, once he gets back on, we'll ask him those questions. So excited for this because we do have a couple of other candidates who are in the process of confirming to come on. We're gonna get those dates, and once we do, we'll put them out here. It looks like he's coming back in. Hold on a second, guys. There we are, Commissioner Holness. Can you hear us?
I'm not able to hear you.
Oh, hold on a second.
We can hear you, but he said he can't hear us. So.
Yeah, he can't hear us. Let's see.
Yeah.
Mic settings.
I'm going from earpiece to.
So take off the earpiece and just use your phone. You can't hear us?
I try to use my phone, but it's not working either.
Uh-oh.
So
yeah, because sometimes what happens is that if you get a call when you're on your phone, you actually have to log out and log back in. So
okay. But he just logged back in, so we just put him back in.
And that's what I got out to get back in, so that I could probably figure out if it would work. But I'm still not. Can you hear me? You can hear me, but I guess I can't hear you.
Yes.
I see you nodding your head, but
yes,
I'm not hearing you.
Okay.
Just I don't know what to say. Just give us your platform for now, I guess.
Well, he can't hear what we said, so we should.
Can you hear us when you put the phone next to your ear? You can hear us?
I can hear you when I put it to my ear.
Okay, well, just give us a little bit about your platform and your vision for District 20.
So let me thank you first for having me on. And I know that I watched one of your shows, and I know you're biased towards a female winning the seat. And that's okay. But I would say to you, I listened. But I'll say to you this.
So the both of us didn't say that.
Do more homework and research.
Yes.
Do more research on having just a female. I think you should have a higher criteria than just to have a female. And you talk about my platform. My platform is about equity. That's what I've worked to demonstrate. And I hope that my team had sent you that article as to why some of these folks who are in power downtown, who are making a lot of money, don't necessarily want me to be in power at all anywhere, because I've changed the dynamics. When I got to Broward County in 2010, 10.25% of our procurement went to our CBE and SBE vendors. And that's where our small business, minority and women-owned business are located. Today, it's 44%. The article that was written by Buddy Nevins state that these folks don't want black folks to get any of the money. And that's why they're coming at me from every angle that they can with everything they can. Now,
Commissioner,
let me give you some more. Let me give you some more on this issue.
But before you do, Commissioner, your speaker, not your speaker, but your volume, push up your speaker so you'll be able to hear us. Maybe that would help.
We can see, yeah, we can see you.
I did that. My speaker is at the maximum that it can. Okay. And again, I can still only hear you when I put the phone to my ear. Okay. I was hearing you. I was hearing you okay at the onset, but then someone called me. I declined the call, and once I did that, something went wrong.
Yes. Okay. Well, what you can do is go ahead and talk, and then take the phone away from your ear, and then put it back.
Okay, no problem.
So you can go ahead and explain what you're saying, and then we'll give you a thumbs up when we're ready to ask another question, and then you can come back with your ear. So right now, just continue to explain your platform. When you're done, we'll give you a thumbs up for you to put the phone back to your ear so we can ask the next question.
So if you were to reduce it to a couple of words, it would start with equity. And the next would be prosperity for all. So equity means that we are not just getting equal opportunity, but we're getting our share. I brought before the county commission an item on June 15 to do a disparity study as to how women and minorities are treated in Broward County. And the woman that's there, you can go look, that's supposed to be black, voted against it. So don't just say woman, okay? There's a saying that sometimes the best man for a job is a woman. Well, I'd say that sometimes the best woman for a job is a man. Look at someone's performance and take some time. I watched that show and I said, oh my God, how much depth have these folks gone to do any research to hear and understand anything? I mean, one of you even say, I got checks for my daughter's stuff. Nonsense. Where did you get that from?
Who said that you had checks from your daughter's stuff? One of us?
Yeah. So
she knows that. She heard.
Yeah, so
you listen to these gossip and these rumors. I have a son, Dale, Holness similar to mine. I don't know if you got any, but I ain't get no check. Okay? You got to be careful when you put stuff out there. It's dangerous and damaging to people and to a community.
So let her answer.
Yeah, no. So can you hear me, Commissioner Holness? So
I can hear you. The phone is not here. You're not going to see me because I'm not able to hear when I move the phones for you to see me. So
okay,
and
so
if I want to hear you, if I want to hear you, then I can't put the phone in front of me.
Okay, so I'm going to respond so you can step back and listen. And when I stop talking, you can bring your ear back so we can see you. So there's a couple of things that are incorrect. So one of our
if you're responding and I put the phone away, I can't hear what you're responding and what you're saying.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm going to respond. So there's a couple things that are unclear. So yes, one of the co-hosts said she preferred to see a woman in the race, and one of us said no, that's not the case. I said I'm supporting a male candidate. I did not say which male candidate I would support. Right. So we are split on who we think should have the seat. So let's just clear that up. Right. Mm-hmm. So we're possibly supporting different people, may ultimately end up supporting the same person. However, we do want to give everybody an opportunity to say what it is. We want to hear from all of the candidates and see what it is that they intend to do for District 20. So that's the first thing, right? And we did, and so yes, there was a comment made because the story was actually developing when we had the show on Wednesday, and they said I said that there was some allegation that he may have been involved. I didn't say that was for sure. I did not know, right? So I was like, there's an allegation, and we really hope that that's not in fact the case, okay? So that, just to clarify that point, that's the point that needs to be made. But since we're on that part of it right now, one of the things that happened that day was that the mamas, a lot of people who are mothers called me, I'm going to speak for me, called me, and they didn't understand your statement saying that you were that you didn't have a relationship with your daughter. And even if that wasn't,
that's not what my statement says. That's not what my statement says. You need to go read it.
They want to know why you just didn't not comment instead of like, I wish her well, and hopefully she learned from that mistake.
So let me say this, okay?
Yes.
I believe
step back so you can say it so we can see.
He can't hear you when you do that. Just let him.
He said when his ear, he can. I'm talking now, but he can step back to answer.
So you want to look at my face when I speak? You can see me, right?
Yes.
So let me say this clearly. I believe in being open and transparent. Sometimes it's painful. Okay. Now, I love all my children. I love my daughter. She made a mistake. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not involved with it. The fact is, truth, and she's used the word before that she's estranged from me. That doesn't mean that my daughter and I doesn't have contact. It doesn't mean that we don't see each other. She brings my granddaughter to my house. So people need to understand there's a rift in our relationship for several years now. Okay, that's clear. And there's a bunch of separation that has occurred. And I don't want to get into it any further than what I said. My statements stand, okay? And folks need to understand that it's very painful for me to go through this, okay? All right? But one of the things I wanted to make sure people understand, because folks have been doing this for months now, trying to put me into stuff that I'm not involved with, okay? And I hope you read the article that Buddy Nevins wrote, that basically says they've been searching for anything they can do to take me down. Because guess what? You look around Broward County, you look at how many black judges up there, call them and ask them how many of them I've worked tirelessly for. How many of those who are elected across the 5 blacks that got elected last year at the county level, not one of them did not receive my support. They all got my support, and heavy and strong support. In fact, if they're truthful, several of them will tell you the only reason they're in office is because of my efforts. Okay? You think other folks want us to be empowered? Listen, the Buddy Nevins article says I'll be a target. And I'm a target. And they're gonna come at me from every angle they can. But I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna continue to fight for equity, for fairness, for justice. And I've done that and demonstrated that at the county level. Okay, time and time again. Pull the record. And I'd say to both of you, if you have not taken some time to watch the county commission meeting, watch a few of them. If you haven't taken the time to watch the state representatives that are in the race, watch their performance. Look at their performance. Look at what they've accomplished. Stack mine up against it, okay? Stack it up. Don't just use your emotion, please. Go and research and get some facts. Don't listen to rumors. Research, and if you had something, call me and say, Holness. You can find me. I'm the easiest guy to find. There's no difficulty finding Dale Holness. I'm everywhere. Okay, so my agenda is simply equity. Equity for folks who've been left out, locked out, and too often locked up. We have a criminal justice system that is madness. We're locking up people for no good reason. You look at Broward County, our budget this year is $5.8 billion. The single largest item in there is to run the jail. $300 million. Guess what? 47% of the people in jail in Broward County are on psychotropic drugs. They need medicine to stay sane. And that's what we're locking up. We're locking up poor people. We're locking up people who have addiction. We're locking up people who have mental illness. Is that a smart way to spend our money? You know, young people say defund the police. I say redirect, restructure. And that's why last year I passed the Criminal Justice and Police Oversight Board to look at policing, where I have NAACP, Black Lives Matter, and some people didn't want them on there. But you can't have a system that is not inclusive of everyone's voice at the table. You look at my record. I want you to research my record the next time we talk, before we talk. So that, and before you speak of me, research, go to the county commission, look at the stuff. I think my people have put up a bunch of the meetings on YouTube. Look at them. SEIU, Service International, Employee International Union endorsed me. You know why? Because I was at the forefront of a living wage for people who work, a dignity for these workers. And my colleague who sits there, who's in this race, look at what she said. These people don't have 3 and 4 or 5 degrees, so they probably shouldn't have the same kind of benefit as county employees. It's on the record. I stand on my record all day long. Go pull it. Research it before you start saying stuff.
Well, so let me just go ahead and clarify for me. I am all about the Black women, and this is nothing against you personally, Commissioner Holness. But I am very partial to Black women. I believe that Black women leaders have done a great amount of things here in Broward as well as at large. And I do feel partial to having a Black woman running or having that seat. Now, as far as which Black woman, that is yet to be seen, and I believe everybody has an opportunity to speak about it. Now you said to go look at some of the meetings and look at your record. I've seen some of the meetings and I've looked at your record, and I'm not disputing anything that you're saying here. Nor is my co-host disputing anything that you're saying here. However, you know, we are people, we're constituents. Everybody's looking at everything, and being in a public eye and being an elected official, everything negative comes with this job. We didn't want you to come here and feel the need to be upset with us when we were talking about what transpired a few days ago where your daughter was concerned. We got the story. We had a conversation about it. This is what our platform, that's what we do. And if you did watch the show, I specifically said that I don't think in its entirety, I specifically said that I didn't think that was going to be something that was going to derail your campaign, in my opinion.
I heard that.
I felt like that wasn't something that really was going to be directed at you per se. But I have to be honest, we did read your statement from WSVN that was sent out. It did say that you were estranged from your daughter. It also said that you did mention that that she said that she was an adult, and as such, that's how it is. But it didn't, when it resonated with mamas and mothers, it came off like you threw your child under the bus. And so for that, we didn't even get to kind of discuss that per se, because that, that kind of, it wasn't.
So let me say this to you, okay?
Okay, we like to see your face when you're speaking. If you can push back, thank you.
Let me say this to you. That I've been a single father myself. Okay? There was a point in time when a majority of my children live in my house with me being a single father. My youngest child, mother, died when he was 7 years old. until I remarried. I was the sole person that he had to care for him. I understand women. I know women play an important and a vital role. And if you listen to me carefully and you've watched me over time, you would hear that I believe women ought to be empowered. Certainly. Because when you empower a woman, you really empower more than that single person. You empower a community. Because the fact is this, life is tied more towards a mother than towards men. That's the way our society has evolved. Now, there are men, that doesn't mean that there aren't men who play roles as fathers. I don't even want to go through much more of this pain that I'm going through with my daughter. Okay, it is extremely painful. But let me say this so you understand, and maybe you can talk to your woman friend and let them understand this. I'm here for my daughter whenever she needs me. That statement was hurtful for me to have made, but it was a fact. And I needed to ensure that people understood and get the clarity of it. Now, we all have children that don't always listen to us. And I pray to God that more children would listen to their parents. Please listen to your parents. Listen to them. Listen to your grandparents. Though you may think you're wiser than them, you're not. They've lived a much longer life. They've been through much more than you can imagine until you get to their age. Okay? So for those who, listen, my kids are very important. Anyone who knows me knows the vital role and the importance my kids play in my life. My daughter, Dayla, is now running my campaign, pretty much. Okay? All of them have been engaged in my life. They were working in my office from 9 years old. I got to tell them, speak loud so people can hold you and don't think hear you and don't think you're a baby. Okay? All of them have been tied and wrapped around me all their lives. Now, women are vital and important to our society, critical. They play an immensely important role. But I'd say to you too, ladies, understand that not every person is the same. Not every woman's going to fight for women. Not every woman has the understanding that, I am empowered. I must empower others to empower a community. I understand that. I'm clear on that. You can talk to the people around me. Let me tell you something. One of my biggest supporters is a group called Black Women in Construction. The president of that organization has maxed out on my campaign. She's out raising funds. You know why? Because she saw what I do, what I did at the county. She's engaged. They have access to me anytime they need anything. Okay? All right?
Okay.
The
So we have
wider
a question.
community is going to try to use this thing, to tear down the work that I've done. And it's not about me. It's a mission for a community. Okay? The truth is this, guys. I'm going to continue this fight. But at the end of the day, do I want to win this seat? If I don't, I'm going to live. I will live. I haven't done very bad in life. And I can live in very small amount. Okay, I don't drive fancy, expensive cars. I don't spend a whole lot of money on stuff. So I can live on less than most people probably can. But I'll be okay. But what I want to make sure of is the next generation of Black folks have a different pathway, have greater access. I'm a Garveyite. I believe that as a community, we ought to empower ourselves and reach back even to Africa and to help them build, because if we do it collectively and in a global way, we're going to be able to gain a lot more respect, a lot more prosperity, and a lot more happiness than we've had. Because when you're poor, it's difficult to smile. When you're poor and you have to barely exist, it's difficult. And you look at the statistics in this country and around the world for Black folks. Okay, we have been struggling for far too long. We must get together collectively and change those dynamics. That's what I'm about. That's what this mission is about.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, all right. So I have a question. So you want to put it to your ear?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a couple questions. So you want to I'm glad you took the opportunity to explain the statement that you made regarding your daughter in that situation. But I think what people are really here for is to hear what it is that you intend to do for District 20. So if you win this seat, there are two big at least two big issues that are wait, hold on. There are two big issues that's happening in Washington, D.C. right now. One of them is that they're pushing to pass the John Lewis voting rights bill and then the George Floyd criminal justice reform bills. Can you state your position on both of those issues, please?
Well, the position ought to be clear from anyone. That's what I do.
Let us see your face. Let us see your face and let's talk about it.
Vote.
Go ahead.
That's what I do. Listen, I started off this morning at a citizenship drive that I've been conducting since 2014. 7,500 people, immigrants, have gotten their citizenship through this program, and I was there extolling, expressing to them that they need to go register to vote as soon as they become citizens, get out and vote. It is crazy that the Republicans want to stop people from voting, but we know why. Because if more people vote, they lose. Because their platform and what they do is not empowering a lot of people who needs to be empowered. They're not about equity, okay? So, yes, we must pass those legislation, but we must go beyond passing them. We must get active in our community and register people who vote. We must get active and get people who are not yet citizens to become citizens. I do that. I've been doing that. Anybody who follows me or watch what I've done, that's something that I've done. I've been out on the front line. My office, my real estate office, is now more about that than about real estate, to be honest with you. We've done the voter registration. We've done the point of getting people to request vote by mail ballot, making it easy for them. The first place that President Obama had to work from 24/7 in Broward County was my office in 2008. In 2009, when he had the first Christmas party there, I was invited to attend because they recognized the work that I did. Not only did I help on the ground, knocking doors and using my office to build that, after he won, my office was utilized as the center for getting people to support the Affordable Care Act. Robin Donaldson stayed there for more than a year and a half to help, almost 2 years, to help make that happen for all of the 5 counties in South Florida. That's where the operation was run from. Gillum, talk to Andrew Gillum. My office was the second place he had in the state of Florida to operate from. Those big signs you saw with his face, we designed them in my office with my technical team. We got 400 of them across the state. That's how we want. We were out on the front line. So when it comes to passing those legislation, it's absolutely important. But we can't wait for it to pass to get active. All of us, including you, ought to be telling our folks, register to vote, put the link out. We broadcast the link. And I also educate people, you need to become party affiliated, because a lot of folks say, well, I'm independent. No, they're dependent. They have to wait after a primary election to decide for us to decide who they can vote for come the general election. So there's a lot of education that listen, I've been doing this for a long time. The first race I got involved with, maybe a couple of you might not have even been born yet, in Broward County, was for Andrew DeGraffin Wright's campaign, the second black person elected in Broward County to be a commissioner on any city, second elected period, after Boise Waiters out of Dania. I was there. I went in. I was at Broward College. I walked in. Fred Beneby still called me to volunteer because he says, this young man, you walked in. I walked in to help that campaign because I know how important it is. Jesse Jackson's campaign, I was registering voters on Skid Row and in places where a lot of people won't even go, because I understand the importance of doing that. In fact, my partner, Ed Phillips, who served a term as a commissioner in Pompano Beach, and I laugh and joke about it all the time. He got me involved in that, and I stayed the course with him, making sure that we did that. So Jesse's 84, 88 campaign led us to Bill Clinton and Obama. There's a direct pathway to that campaign because so many young people went out, got people registered to vote. So many minorities and women got engaged in the political system to change the whole dynamics of it.
Yeah,
Narnik,
so
I see you raising your hand. So let
no,
me put it back to my
there was a second part to my question about the George Floyd
yes.
Policing bill, because there's a lot of questions in the chat
Okay.
about what are we going to do about the violence, what are we going to do about policing, what are we going to do about people of color making up such a great part of the criminal justice system. So what are your thoughts on that, and how would you help put that legislation forward? How would you help
So let me
push that
tell you this.
legislation forward?
Absolutely, we must pass that. But I'm not waiting for that. I'm a local elected official. I told you I passed last year the Police and Criminal Justice Oversight Board, bringing 24 different entities to the table to examine not just policing, but the whole criminal justice system, because it's not just policing that there's a problem with. There's a problem here locally. And yes, we can pass the bill nationally, but you still have to get enforcement on a local basis, because police department are not running control from Washington, D.C. You can have laws in place that are ignored, such as what we have here in Broward County. I've been a proponent and pushed for civil citation as an alternative to incarcerating people and spending money foolishly. Civil citation works. 90% of our juveniles who go through the civil citation program are successful. Only 3% recidivism rate. We've saved over $40 million in Broward County just on that issue alone. We need to expand that to adults, and I did that. I moved it from juveniles. I passed, along with Medicare, the first piece of adult civil citation here in Broward County, dealing with marijuana. 20 grams or less, you get a ticket, more or less, a citation. You don't go to prison. You don't get locked up. I expand that to petty theft. I expand that to someone pushing someone around, a battery, where there's no one hurt. Pass that on to loitering, to open containers, and to other misdemeanor offenses that people don't need to go to jail for. Let me tell you why it's important that we do this. Young people are still developing their minds, and they're not where we are. They don't see a lot of stuff. Who benefits from it? Juvenile. Even the adult civil citation program, the majority, 60% plus, are young people under 25 years old that benefits from this. We're wasting our most important capital as a nation, or people. Our people are very important. And what we're doing, we're sending them to prison. We have more people locked up in prison than any other country in the world. That's nonsense. It's stupid. Downright stupid for us to do something like that. Okay, so one of the reasons why I push so much to get judges elected that are black, because when you go back and look at the Tampa Bay Tribune research that they did, it shows that if you're black and you go before a white judge, you're going to get 20% longer sentence than if you're a white person. Okay, and if you go before a black judge, you're going to get a fairer sentence. And by the way, that research also said if you go before a black female judge, you're going to get a longer sentence, but at least the black person and the white person get a longer sentence. Now, if you go before a brother, he give you a break. That's what that research said. Okay?
We're gonna agree to disagree.
So no, you can go look that up too. Okay, so
Okay.
yes, it's a must as a nation. And let me go on to something else that I passed last year. I passed an ordinance creating a racial equity task force. I don't just talk. I do. I do stuff. Okay, people are going to come and tell you how wonderful and beautiful they are and all this and that, and yeah, they're good people. But what have they done? How have they changed the needle? Have they moved it in one direction or the other? So I passed that ordinance, and one of the things that I used to convince my white colleague that it was important to do it is this research that was done by City Financial that was reported last September. Last September, City Financial Research, Citibank, the big financial people, did research that showed that in our nation, we lost $16 trillion in economic growth. $16 trillion because of racial inequities. But he says also that if we were to change that, we could grow economy by $5 trillion over the next 5 years. That's what we must understand as a nation, because some folks are reactionary. They want to lock black folks up because they're not comfortable with us. But they're robbing themselves of more prosperity than they have by putting people in prison who then we have to care for. Because that's what happened when you lock up a mother who has 2 kids for petty theft in a store and pay $161 a night to house her, and then take her kids away from her and put her in jail. What solution is that to her poverty?
So Commissioner, a couple of questions in the chat that I wanted to kind of put out. We have a constituent by the name of Tamiko. I can't pronounce your last name, but you know I love you, girl. She wants to know, how does one become an active participant in the Racial Equity Task Force? And those that you've created, who are on those boards? Are they regular people or are they elected officials? Because I'm gonna have to tell you, if they're not elected officials, if they're elected officials, I'm gonna have a little problem with that. I think that it should be people from the community. So I just want to give you an opportunity to tell us who are on those task forces.
So let me tell you who is engaged in them. A representative from the NAACP, a representative from Black Lives Matter.
Show your face.
Show your face.
A representative from the Black Lives Matter, a representative from NAACP, from Urban League, from Hispanic Unity. I don't have that in front of me with all of that, but we also have the police there. There's the chief of police for Broward County and the sheriff. The sheriff's probably the only elected official that we have on there. It calls for the broad community. It calls for the business groups to be a part of it. Because at the end of the day, if it's only us, we can't solve all these problems by ourselves. We need to engage the broader community. For example, on the Racial Equity Task Force, we call for a banker to be on there. Because the banks lend money, they empower folks with capital to grow their businesses. Okay, so what? We need them on there. We got the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance. We have the Black Chamber of Commerce on there. So I'm purposeful in ensuring that we bring everybody to the table that can make a difference and bring about change.
So the question is, how can a common constituent become an active member of the Racial Equity Task Force?
So you would have to fall in one of those categories. And Justin, are you there? No, we can probably send you the categories, but you'd have to fall in one of those categories. We basically wanted to make sure that it was purposeful and will reach broad. So you can look it up to see. At Broward.org, you'll see the categories. And if you can find one of those entities that gets to put someone on, we have a member of the clergy that needs to be on there also. So if you fit one of those categories, then you can send something into us and we'll put you on. Most of the seats are already filled by now because we need to stand it up right now.
Another viewer said that the Racial Equity Task Force has spots. Her name is Bertisha Jones, available, and people can apply via email. And so she put the email up there. So we just put that up there, Commissioner. Thank you.
Hello, Bertisha, because I know you're engaged and involved, and you probably can help educate these folks a little bit.
They don't need no education. I'm good where I'm at.
No, we do need to be educated. So, Commissioner,
I'm not talking. Listen. Don't get. Hello. Hold on. Don't go any further.
Okay.
I'm not speaking. Listen to me. I'm not speaking to you directly. Okay. There's a lot of people on this. I hope there are other people other than the three of us.
There are.
So what we're going to do, Commissioner, so you don't have
get that sensitive.
All right. So what we're going to do is we have a lot of questions in the chat. So we're going to post the questions so you can see it. And I hope you can see it. And then you can just
remember I'm going back and forth. Remember I'm going back and forth on my phone. So it's not easy for me to see this stuff.
No, so what we're going to do, we're just going to post the question so you don't have to keep listening. So we'll post the next question right here. I believe we have one from Mona Lisa Weber. Tell us can you see it?
Hello?
Are you able to see
the question?
So I see what's the real change for poor people? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So
let us see your face. Let us see your face. Okay, go ahead.
So let me tell you this. I understand the frustration of this. It's going to take a huge and dramatic change in our systems. And I would ask you not to be discouraged because you voted. It's not going to happen overnight. Change don't come overnight. Usually when you're changing systems, it's like folks talk about a huge ship in the ocean can't necessarily turn on a dime. But I can tell you this, I've seen the changes. I've been a part of the changes that are occurring. We have in Broward County, for example, something that I've pushed for a prosperity Broward that the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance is leading. OIC is a part of it. Broward College has Broward Up as a part of it. So it's going to take system changes. We have to change the system. It's systemic what's in place. And if we don't change the system, we won't be able to do it. And if you give up now, we won't get there. Okay. What I'd encourage you to do is to double down your efforts and make sure that you look to vote for people who are going to stand up and not be afraid to stand up. Okay. Look at your your city commissioners. Look at where they're spending, how they're spending the money, how they're including small minority and women-owned businesses in the process, because that's a place for us to turn the dynamics. We need to make sure that Black-owned business thrive. This is Black Business Month. I've been very engaged with that from I started the Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce, being a founding member of the Black Chamber of Commerce, because you have to watch the money, follow the money, who's making the money. And the article that these guys that I sent to you that they wrote was that the white establishment in Broward County don't like me being where I am because they have to share some of the contracts that they have with Black folks. And I've been insisting on that. So we have to look at that. We've got to change a lot. Our educational system, rather than looking at third grade performance and determine how many jail cells we should build, we ought to be putting money into our school to make sure that that doesn't happen. That's a huge thing, and we can target dollars. And I'm gonna get a little bit now into some legislation. There's a legislation that passed a couple of years ago called opportunity zones. I don't know if you're aware of that and what it entails. So opportunity zones allow for wealthy people who have capital gains to invest in poor and high unemployment communities and pay zero capital gains tax. But that legislation doesn't call for anyone from that community to be able to work on these jobs that are created. No one from the community who owns a business to get a contract. No one from the community to be able to invest in this. So I'm going to bring legislation that would say this, that for these opportunity zones to continue, what must happen is that a percentage of jobs that are being created must come from within those opportunity zones. Those people need to be hired. Businesses in those opportunity zones should be given preference to contracting. And we should have apprenticeship program built in for folks in these opportunity zones so they can get the skill set to go out and earn a living. And further, that if these folks in these opportunity zones can pool their funds, whether it be 500 or 1,000, that a group of them can get together, that a fund be set up for them to invest in these projects, and that they pay no taxes on the profit that they earn also. We can expand that even further. And that is to target federal dollars into these high poverty, high unemployment areas. In Broward County, we are targeting 6 of our zip codes, 3331113, 109, 19, 069, 023 are the ones that I remember just thinking of where they are. To ensure we directed more dollars. And when we got the CARES money, that's where we focused on. This is something that I've been pushing for many years. And it came out of me being a part of an organization that existed to invest in these communities that didn't do anything that it should have done. A state legislation that was in place that if they do away with, rather than fix it, they got rid of it. So targeting these dollars, you can also target more educational dollars to these communities, more healthcare dollars. The legislation is already there that give you these opportunities on. Now, you've got to do more than that. If we don't do that, what will end up happening is that we'll have gentrification on steroids, because these folks are going to come in, buy up these stuff, and the people that live there won't be able to afford to live there anymore because they're not making any money.
So, Commissioner, if you could read that other question, if you could read the question on there about the using universal basic income.
Let me say this. I do understand the concept. The devil is going to be in the details, okay? How is it going to be implemented? Yes, I believe that people should have a basic income, but I also believe this. I believe that our child care...
Let us see your face while you answer.
You don't want me to be winking or something else, I guess. So let me, I got to adjust each time I come because I enhance the screen to be able to read it.
Okay.
So let me say this. I do understand the need for there to be some basic safety gap for people, but I would want to tie that in to where people have disability, where people are working and not earning enough that there'll be supplemental. So yes, I'm supportive of the concept, but the details has to be worked out and where does money coming from? Is it going to be all right for you and I to subsidize people who don't work, even when they can work, and giving them $12,000 a year? Oh no, your tax dollars, because that's where it's going to come from. It's going to come out of your taxes. So there is details that have to be put in place for us to basically then say, but I can tell you this: you can use the child credit tax credit that's in place already and expand on it to utilize that as a way for us to create some equity and some basic income for people who need to have it.
Okay. So the final question on here, if you can adjust your computer, your phone, and see if you can read that.
I'm sorry. Now the other question is, why haven't the black churches and the black chambers of commerce found ways for funding in these communities?
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay, so let me tell you this. First, I'm working with a number of clergies to do just that, and they are doing it now. They're actually targeting affordable housing. They're looking at land that they have, and a good portion of it is within these communities. I make connections to them to the finance end. I give them technical support through Ralph Stone, who works in our housing department in Broward County. So I'm working with them on that. Now, not every church has the wherewithal to do this. The Black Chamber of Commerce in Broward County is fairly new, and they are not supported to the level that they ought to be supported. I am supporting them with everything I have in every way I can to help them grow and develop and get some capital. I had a special speaker for them, Sean Swerdlow, who is with one of the largest private capital banking firm in the room over in Sistrunk. On Thursday, I was there making that connection to have him deliver funds so that we can find the ways to do this. We need to look at our entrepreneurs and help build the capacity for them to do this. Churches could actually pivot towards that, and there's some. Mount Hermon, for example, Reverend Green and I worked on some accommodation for the CRA and for zoning. Even when the commissioner who should have been doing it, then I got the mayor of Fort Lauderdale involved, and we're moving a project there, right there by Mount Hermon AME Church at 7th Avenue and on 4th Street, right off Sistrunk Boulevard. So I'm engaged with doing that, and we need to ensure that more of our leaders are engaged in doing these things. I've been chair of the Broad Black elected officials for a few years now. Most of our members are understanding that. I can tell you that there's several, Mike Gellin, Alexandra Davis, and many others are now realizing the importance of the redirecting government funds to enhance opportunities, to lift people up, and to keep these people in their community and make sure that we're not driving them out and that they're being empowered to take ownership. That's something that's big for me also, home ownership. We need to enhance the home ownership rate for black folks is about 44% compared to 73% for whites. That's a great empowerment tool for the future generation. It can break the cycle of poverty that exists within our community. And that's the reason I got in real estate, by the way, folks. I got in because I wanted to make sure people own more homes. And we sold a lot of folks homes over the years, because guess what? They pass on, the children get it. They go to even to the grandchildren. It's generational wealth that's being created and ending the cycle of generational poverty.
Awesome. So we have another question. When did the late Alcee Hastings endorse you?
Let us see your face when you answer that, please. Let us see your face. Thank you.
I don't mind showing my face at all.
Okay. Oh, we lost him. He'll come back in. I think he goes out and then he comes back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're having a great conversation with Commissioner Dale Holness. It seems as though we lost him, but hopefully he'll come right back in. If you guys have any more questions, just go ahead and put them in the chat, and we'll try to get to as many of them as we can. So let's hope.
The last question he got bumped off on was when did the late great Alcee Hastings endorse him? So we're gonna hopefully he'll hop back on and let us know that. And then yes. The question that's on the page now, we're going to ask. Oh, there he is. He's coming back in.
He's coming back in.
It's not easy doing it from where I am.
I know. It's hard doing it from your phone.
Are you able to hear us this time?
Yeah, I can hear. You know what? I can hear now.
Okay, great. So the last question was when.
I heard it. I heard the question.
Okay.
So let me say this to you, right? Alcee Hastings and I go back a long way working together. Okay, and most people who have been active and not in the community know that he was a close ally and mentor for me. He and I have been talking about this for a long time. If you go back and look at his last 3 election cycles, I was at the forefront of coordinating campaigns for him. Ask Alexander Davis, okay? Ask his team, ask his office. The congressman did endorse me. His son came out and told you that. You can ask Dorsey Miller, well-respected person in the community. Ask Dr. Larry Pierre. In fact, we had a conversation 2+ years ago about this. So it's not that he didn't. I mean, his son was in the room. His daughter, his wife was in the room. Why his son stood up and said his father did? So where's the question?
Okay. Yeah, and I believe that when we were asked that question last week, I did mention that your Alcee's son was at your when you came out and made your announcement that you were running for the seat.
Yes.
Yes.
The congressman told me before he passed. I have his endorsement and that his voice was ready to be out on the road with me whenever I go. Unfortunately, may his soul rest in peace. Mm-hmm. He was a fighter. Yes. He was a champion.
Yes.
He thought of equity way before other people did. When Haitian Americans were being mistreated in the justice system on immigration, he was at the forefront of that. Okay, this is a man I looked up to greatly. And again, let me give you further so you get a little more about the relationship. That it's not just superficial. Okay, the congressman got diagnosed with cancer October 2018. I was at the forefront, he and I, of the campaign for Gillum. In October, he called me and says, son, I got to tell you something. I don't want you to tell anyone else. I've been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. I have to be off the road for a while. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell Andrew, I don't want you to tell anyone else. We didn't tell anyone. He released it himself in January is when the public knew that he had that issue. I took over pretty much his campaign at that point. My team and his team worked together as one for his election. And subsequently in 2020, you didn't see much of the congressman. I was out there. Our teams were melded together to get him there. Because listen, I told people this, that as long as his mind was as sharp as it was, and his tongue was as fiery as it was, we knew we had a voice. I would support him, and everyone knew that. He knew that also. So it's a big big shoes to fill. But I won't be him. I'll be me. But I tell you this: that I'll work to continue his legacy of being fearless, of being a fighter for our people, and even fight in some ways he didn't.
All right, so the final question we have on there is, big sugar companies have been donating to many of the candidates. Have you taken any money from them?
So I've gotten contribution from folks that probably is connected, but Big Sugar didn't come to me and say, Dale, I'm giving you money. Individual contributions that could be tied to them. But let me tell you this. Anyone who knows me knows you can't buy me. You don't own me. You don't own my vote, okay? When you look at the county commission,
when these lobbyists support me and the business owners support me, the very white ones, I tell them, look, I'll take the money today, but tomorrow, if it's the right thing to vote against you, I'm going to vote against you. And I have. I have voted against many folks who have made contribution to my campaign. You know, you can't buy my vote. You can't own me. So I don't care who gives me campaign contribution. They need to understand that they don't own Holness. I'm not for sale. I can't be bought. You give me some campaign contribution, doesn't mean nothing. Other than, hey, you call me, I'll answer. And just as you can demonstrate to my county, you can go pull the records. No other county commission office gets as much calls, receive as much email, have as many people visit them across the board as my office. The record is there. This past couple of weeks, one of my staff got pulled some information for for the assistance for the CARES Act for rental assistance. We were running 14 one week where people call in and we were helping through the process. To the only other office that had any substantial, most 3. One had 2 and about 3 had 1 and the others had none. Because people know when they call my office, we're going to be responsive. We're going to work for them. And I make it clear, I'm about the people's business. It's about the ordinary folks who don't have access, who don't have a voice.
And while you're talking about the rental assistance, we had a couple of shows talking about that. And why is it not really advertised, Commissioner? Because the Department of Children and Families, the state received $280 million. After all is said and done, the state will have received $1.5 billion. Why is this not advertised so people can go ahead and apply for the rental assistance?
We put $53 million in it in Broward County. And we have done some promotion. If you were in my email contact database, you would have gotten it time and time again. I see you nodding your head. Maybe you're in there. I'm out there. I take it to churches. We deliver it. We deliver this. We deliver this. You got it. You got it a bunch of times. You got it right.
Yeah.
My team and I covered over 250 Black churches in Broward County with that information, and we can constantly keep that updated and let folks understand that it's there and it's available for them. Major complexes call me because they're having problems with moving the stuff, and we move it for them. People in the community call me. So I am doing my part to make sure that information is out there. And again, you nod your head, you agreed that I send the stuff out on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm just hoping maybe you're doing your part, but what about the rest of the commission? Because when we talk about it, people don't even know that this is available to them. So what is Broward County, apart from Commissioner Dale Holness, doing to kind of push this information?
Am I muted?
No.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you'd have to. Yeah. So I agree. We need to do more of it. We did do some marketing with it, not enough. And as to the other commissioners, you're gonna have to call them and ask them why they ain't doing it.
Correct. Agreed. Okay, so there's a question about your dad experience in Alabama. Someone saw a very interesting article about it, and they want to hear about your experience in this country, the Black experience in this country, and what's your perspective?
Just as another Black man, I've been through the struggles. I can tell you this. Back when I was 19 years old, I was driving my stepdad, my Chevrolet Malibu. I stopped at a gas station at 23rd Street or 24th Street and 441. Used the payphone there to call my friend who lived in Lauderdale Lakes to see whether or not he was home. And I got 2 cop cars pulled up. White guy pulled me away from the phone, says someone inside says you didn't put any money in to make the call. I said, well, you can talk to my friend on the phone. I don't know how to not put money in a payphone and make a call. This is back in 1970, in the 70s. Okay, I'm dating myself. Okay, And this cop went around to rough me up. And the black cop stood by his car and did nothing. There was no need for him to have treated me that way. So my experience as a black man is similar to almost any other black person in this country. All right. Now, let me say this, that we must work together to change the system. And that's why I'm here doing what I do. We've got to work together. We must understand the importance of change and how we work together. And listen, the political system is controlled on a local basis. If you work on a local basis, you can change the national system, because the elections, the voters are here locally for the president, for the senator. But if you don't put people in place where the rubber meets the road, who's going to be on the front line for you to make the changes here, then even if you have support at the national level, still you're going to have the problem. And that's what happens in places like Alabama. Those places should have higher voter turnout. It shouldn't be one person who has the ability to vote there that doesn't vote, and they don't vote because they get frustrated, and you cannot allow yourself to get frustrated and get defeated.
All right, so we're winding down, Commissioner. We have one more question. Mona Lisa wants to know about trade school and coding for our children. Is that going to be something that you're going to push for if you are elected to this seat, and make it something that can be more universal, and divert some more funds to that kind of program?
Yeah, because one of the things
Absolutely.
is that everybody's not going to college. Everybody's kid can't go to college. Some students just need vocational training. Would you push for finding different funding in order to?
Absolutely. So let me tell you what I say to folks. Okay, once you get out of high school, you should, if you're low or moderate income, you should get 4 years of additional education, whether it be through technical schools or through college, no cost. We have to build back in our system apprenticeship programs. Germany, if you look at what Germany has done with their system, they have some of the strongest engineers in the world, because when you get to 11th grade in school, or 10 or 11th grade, you actually make a determination which pathway you're going to go, and you become an apprenticeship with a firm, and you grow through that, and you probably spend the rest of your life working through that, growing up the ranks. So yes, it's critical. And again, I'm going to go back to the opportunity zone legislation. That's a place you can target these dollars, because we know they exist. We know where they are. And here's how it benefits us doing that, because we can pass it easily, bipartisan, because there are rural communities that have similar problems as urban communities. And if we put these kinds of things in place, they will benefit also. It doesn't have to say black, but we know that by and large, black folks are going to benefit much greater than anyone else. So yes, and also let me let you know this, that I'm the only commissioner to have a strong internship program in my office. You can come check. Okay, and I've been doing that since I got into my own business, ensuring that young people have access to someone who can help them. My campaign manager, a graduate of Dormer College, who interned on Wall Street, an intern with Congresswoman Wilson's office, was an intern that I got him because he was looking for a job at one of the big financial company, couldn't get the door open. I brought him in, and for the first time, I'm going to tell him, he didn't know this, but I'm going to make sure that when this campaign is over, he can go to Wall Street. So I'm going to open the doors for him that way.
That's great. So I just want to, before I ask the question, this question is coming from the chat. Is your wife a Caucasian woman?
She is.
Okay, so this is a constituent. This is someone in your area is asking a question. As her name is Tay Ford, she's saying, as a white woman, does your wife play a role in your campaign to push forth the Black agenda in Broward County?
Absolutely. She's blacker than many of you.
Okay.
Not in complexion, not in complexion, but in action. She has 3 black grandchildren. All right. She was married to someone black even before me, and because someone has a white skin doesn't mean all white people are bad. Okay, let's make sure that's clear. And when my son's mother died and I needed help, that was the person that was there. She's still there. She's caring for my aunt now. I'm on the road. My aunt came up for my dad's funeral. I had a stroke. You know who's by her bedside every day? You know who took her to the hospital yesterday when she had to go back in after being in Broward General for a week? It was my wife. Okay, so folks are wanting to use that. It's nonsense. Look at my performance. She stand and support me and push these agenda items as strong as I do.
So, and I just, you know, and that's great that you've clarified that for your constituents so they can hear from that. But you can see it's important that we as a community always ask those questions. We know that not all white people are bad, but we also want to make sure that that they are making our agenda their agenda. And so, and I think that that's where Mrs. Ford was going with that. So we had to ask the question, right?
Anyone who knows me and know my life would know not even to think of that, much more to ask me a question like that.
Well, I mean, all your constituents don't know you that well. They just know your name. You're very popular and they know of you, especially when you hear the name Holness. It's extremely popular here in Broward County. So it's always good to have some of your constituents know you on a different level. I mean, she may have heard that you were married to a white woman, but didn't know the context or how long you've been together.
So let me be frank. Some of my opponent is pushing that, and they ought to be pushing their record as I'm pushing my record right here. That's what they ought to be talking about. Okay, that's that. What is that? How is that going to help black people in Broward County?
Listen, I haven't heard of your opponents saying anything. I didn't even know until I just asked you if you were married to a white woman. I didn't know. I didn't hear anything from your opponents yet. But if they are saying that, you've clarified that. You've made it very clear.
You think they're going to come on your show? You think they're going to come on your show and publicly say that?
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to ask them. You know, I'll ask. I have no problem asking. All right. So Tamika wants to know, please speak on your perspective of gun violence in Broward.
You know, I think the Second Amendment is misconstrued. Folks, when the Second Amendment was passed, we didn't have machine guns. We have guns that you had to reload after you fire each shot. We ought not have military weapons on our streets. We ought not have weapons that outgun our police force. We must put in place gun controls that make sense. You're telling me somebody who's crazy can walk in and buy a gun and that's okay? And we don't have any restrictions on that. I'm a part of a lawsuit, by the way, against the state because the state don't allow me to even talk about it. Much more regulated at the local level. If we put legislation in place at the local level to restrict that, they would remove my immunity as an elected official for acting legislatively. And I'd have to defend myself. So we got to make changes, dramatic changes. It's senseless what's going on with all these guns on our streets. It doesn't make any sense. We are going to have to, and I'm so glad that the NRA got taken out because they were havoc to the health and well-being of our people. And not only here at home, but across the waters. Where does those guns come from in Haiti and Jamaica and other places? It comes from here. Sold there clandestinely and illegally oftentimes. So we have to have better controls of who has a gun. And I'm not saying that people ought not to have one. I'm saying that there ought to be mindful controls in place.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We totally agree with that. But this is a good question with Lisa. She's saying that who's bringing the weapons into our community because we can't afford it. So where are they coming from? That's a great question, by the way, because I'd like to know too.
So guns are far too accessible for folks to obtain. Okay, where's it coming from? It's hard for me to pinpoint and tell you where it's coming from. Who's bringing it in? Because it's so easy for you to move that. Okay, when you can just pretty much walk in and buy one. Who's tracking who's got a gun? We don't have GPS on them. We can't tell where they're moving from where to where, but we know they're there. So what we must do is make sure that on the front end, we control who gets one, and that there's registration that can be tracked as to who the owners. There's some of that in place. It needs to be strengthened.
Awesome. So we have a climate question. So what are your plans for address the climate crisis? Is not just platitude or talking points. What is your solution to addressing it, if not by the GND?
Okay, so part of what we are doing actually in Broward County that I support strongly is we're looking to reduce our consumption of those things that cause us to create the pollution that exists and the gas that's released that help to contribute to this. Most of our buses are now going electric. We're working towards getting that done. Our buildings, we are now retrofitting them to reduce the utilization of electricity so we can reduce that carbon footprint that needs to be done. We need to look around the world to see how we preserve forestries. Haiti, for one, we ought to be invested in rebuilding the forestation in Haiti because it's benefiting us here in America by having forestation that will help to reduce these gases out of the air. So there's a whole lot that needs to be done. The new Green Deal is something that I think is something we ought to be working towards, to ensuring that we're doing what needs to be done and lead the world in this effort.
Okay.
All right.
I do have like one, maybe it'll be the last question. I don't know, Miss Narnik may have one. So like red light cameras was a thing in Broward County. I know that they're really big in Miami Gardens, which is extremely problematic. What was your position on red light cameras in Broward County? And can you talk about your history in voting on them and having them placed in certain neighborhoods?
So I got to tell you this, red light camera is a very troubling situation. And I know that in the end I didn't support it. I probably need to go pull my record so that next time somebody asks me, I can tell you exactly all the votes I made on it. It was a nuanced situation because here's what happens. People want to be safe and protected. In fact, 2 days ago, I was at an event and this lady came up to me and says, "What are we going to do about these people running these traffic lights?" She got broadsided and almost died as a result of someone running a red light. And I says, we have penalties in place. She says, well, people sometimes run it deliberately. I says, I can't believe people who do that. She says, well, in my case, that's what happened. She said, I slowed down. The person saw the light was already red and sped up as I was crossing. So there's two sides to a lot of issues. Okay. On the other side of that issue is the fact that when you have poor people going through these traffic signals and you put pretty much a tax on them, that's problematic for them to be able to have to pay another fee in order to maintain their ability to drive to get to and from work. So I know that I didn't support us putting them on our light poles, which is what they were asking for. And in fact, I can tell you this, that there's a lobbyist that got pissed off with me for not doing that. Okay. And a black one too. He's on one of the other candidates' campaign team leading it.
Okay, yes. Yeah, so no, we definitely know, because one of the things that was happening is that those cameras have to be paid for on a monthly basis. They tend to be in communities of color or low income communities, which oftentimes those individuals don't even know that they can maybe hire an attorney to dismiss it. Instead, they try to pay it, and oftentimes those cameras could be those tickets are just as much as they're making when they go to work all week, right? So it was definitely a problematic situations for poor communities and definitely communities of color.
And the money that the government was making out of it was not much.
Not much to the government, but a lot to the people who had to pay it, though.
No, listen. What I'm saying to you is the community wasn't benefiting because it cost so much. And secondly, the money that would probably come in to do some other offsets wasn't coming in. So yes, it is very problematic for us to have that. And there's been challenges in court, and it's gone back and forth. I can tell you today, I won't support it. Never support it.
Okay.
Going forward support red light cameras. It's not good.
Thank you. So there's a question about how can we implement community gardens in the communities, and where can we actually own the land? So that's a big thing now. People are trying to grow their own vegetables. Fruits I think get a little trickier, especially if you need a tree. But what can we do about having more community gardens in places where people don't have access or can't afford to buy fruits and vegetables on a
So,
regular basis?
I support Commissioner Beverly Williams in Lauderdale Lakes. She actually have a community garden across from Boyd Anderson High School. I think it's a good idea for us to put as much local production of fruits and vegetables in our communities as much as we can. I have tried to work with some local farmers. There's some out in the Davie area growing different kind of vegetables, sugar cane sometimes, and callaloo. And stuff that's easily turned around. I think we ought to be supportive of that. Yes. The other part of it is that some people in the community don't want these gardens. So
Yeah.
you gotta find a balance. You know?
They want to build an apartment building. Instead, they want to build like a 10-story apartment building. That's it. Even if the area can handle it or not. So that's what's happening. All right. So thank you for taking the time for speaking with us today. So close it out. Tell the people why they should vote for you. We got to hear some of the things that you've done. We hear that, haters gonna hate, that type of thing. So let us know why folks should vote for you on November the 2nd during the primaries.
And not only tell us why, but also tell them where they can find you, where they can do donations, all of that good stuff.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, let me start with the last part first. You can reach me at holnessforcongress.com. HOLNESS for Congress.com. My campaign office is at 4325 West Sunrise Boulevard in Plantation. You can call 954-379-8683. 954-379-8683 in order to reach me, or again, holnessforcongress.com. Donate.holness.org, but holnessforcongress.com, you'll be able to volunteer, you'll be able to donate, and I say to the community this: your vote is your voice, but understand the importance also of making some financial contribution, whatever you can, because that also helps give someone the ability to be able to get in office and stay in office. Now, why should they vote for me? I have a track record. We talked a bit about it this evening. I am not just talking. I'm not just promising. I have delivered for the people of Broward County. I've been engaged in this community in every aspect of life. I've supported the right candidates to be in office so that they can be empowered to help our community. I have a plan to create prosperity through growing our economy and being more inclusive of everyone. I didn't even talk about how we need to sell more of our goods and our services to the rest of the world and to counter China's move into developing countries such as Africa, Haiti, Jamaica, and all over the world, where they're bringing their own technical people, their own labor force, their own materials, and not helping to empower these communities. That's a big piece of what we've got to do going forward. So you can go to holnessforcongress.com. Holnessforcongress.com. Please volunteer, help the campaign. We're in a good position. They tell me that the polls have me ahead, but we're going to have to work hard and earn every vote. And even the ones who are not thinking of voting for me now, I want your vote. I need your vote, because we're all in this together. And as I've been accessible to this community, as I've been engaged in this community, I'll continue to do that as a member of Congress. I'm not going to win and go to Washington and forget where I'm from. I haven't done that my whole life. I'll be here. I'll be here for you. I'll be here to take those calls. And my wife told some people this week at a meeting that, listen, he'll take a call at 12 or 1 o'clock in the night. And if somebody really need help, he'll find a way to get them help. That's who I am. I am here for you.
Well, thank you so much, Commissioner Holness. Thank you for being transparent and open. Thank you for taking our calls. I know it was a little testy earlier on, But you're passionate about what you do. You're passionate about who you are and what you've accomplished. And so we understand that. And while I wish you good luck, I'm still Team Black women. But I do wish you good luck. I do wish you good luck on your campaign. The information on here is donate.teamholness.com. Contact number 954-379-8493. All those who are supporting Commissioner Holness, please go ahead and donate. Reach out to him if you have conversations. Obviously, Commissioner Holness is not afraid of the tough questions or having a conversation with with constituents. So we implore you to reach out, be part of the solution. That's what we push here on our platform. Be engaged, be part of the political process, and that means also vetting your candidates, having a conversation with your candidates, and learning more about them. So, Commissioner Holness, we thank you for your time. We continue to, tell everyone good luck for the race. And can you remind us again when the primary is?
So the primary election will be November 2nd. But please, if you're voting for me, I'd like for you to get a vote by mail ballot, because it's a certain way for you to be able to vote. And with COVID, you might want to do that, because you never can tell what might happen going forward. It's easy, it's convenient. The Republicans don't want you to use it, and that should tell you that you should use it.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Right? So I recommend you do that. And if you would like to vote for me, know that you need to change your party affiliation, and you can go to holnessforcongress.com and click on voter information, voter help, or change party affiliation, and you'll be able to get go right to the state website or the county website that you're in order to get that done.
That's
and
right.
The reason why Commissioner Holness is saying change your party affiliation is because we're a closed primary state, and you can only vote for the party of your choice. So if you're a non-party affiliate, you won't be able to vote for any Democratic candidates during the elections, during the primary election. And as he said, November 2nd should be the last day you vote. Like, we want you to vote as soon as early voting start. The ballots come out, so go ahead and vote. In election day should be the last opportunity to vote.
But also remember that if you need to change your party, you got to do it at least 30 days before election.
Yes.
And also, if you're not registered to vote, you need to register to vote at least 30 days to vote in this election cycle. The November election is a primary election. There's a January 11th general election, but whoever wins the Democratic primary election will win, because there's only 13% Republicans in the district.
And also, yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No,
and the point I wanted to make too is, like, this is a special election because of the passing of the late great Alcee Hastings, and so they actually have to run again for another election in November 2022, right? So there's an election
not November. We'll have to run again in August. August next year, we'll have a primary election again.
Yeah, November, which is 22. Election. Oh, so yes, but there's a general election in November of 2022 for that seat. But you have to get through the primaries in August of 2022. So that's a quick turnaround, people. That's 8 months that they have to, so they're going to be campaigning probably the whole time. And most likely the person that could win now should be able to win again in August of 22, just because of that short turnaround time.
You got your work cut out for you, Commissioner.
Ladies, let me say this, that though you're tough and hard, I listen, I love everyone. I love you guys. And thanks so much for the education in terms of the party affiliation issue, because our community needs to know more of that and understand how that works. If you're not party affiliated, you can mostly vote for school board and judges. Most of the other candidates you're not able to vote for during the primary election.
All right.
Holnessforcongress.com. Let's go on and continue pushing the fighter for you, the person who will stand up and not be afraid.
You have a long record.
Even to be put on the grill by these tough, smart ladies.
And we're glad that you stood on your record and not badmouth folks. He stood on his record when he was talking about what he did, what he's gonna do, instead of coming and talking about what the other person didn't do. So I'm always here for that. Stand on your record.
There you go. We appreciate your time, and good luck to you, Commissioner Holness.
All right, good. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you. Have a good one.
And remember to help Haiti. Haiti needs your help.
Oh,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
And thank you so much for doing what you're doing today.
And I think Haiti's like, don't give your money to the Red Cross. So
And I haven't.
they're like, don't give your money to the Red Cross.
I have donated to FAM, Glasgow Clergy Foundation, to Mandodo. We had a ship that went out this week. We have an aircraft that went out yesterday, and there should be another aircraft going out that will go into Kai next week. And I'm working closely with every entity that I can find to support. I'm supporting them to make sure that we get that aid as quickly as possible. And then we got to do something else. We didn't talk about Plan Haiti, how we're going to rebuild Haiti for the future, not just as we have an emergency, how we can implement something similar to what was done after World War II for the plan to rebuild Europe. Plan Colombia is another one that. So we have a lot more to talk about.
So it seems like if you win, Commissioner Holness, that would be some of the things that you're going to bring to Washington in terms of
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm already working on the papers to bring that in terms of legislation, in terms of how we are able to really understand the dynamics and how helping Haiti helps us, and we're rewarding Haiti for what they did for us to win the War of Independence, when Haitian forces fought fiercely, bled and died on American soil to ensure that we have this country. When they put themselves on the line to beat France so that we could get a third of this country, 15 states all are part of 15 states, from Louisiana all the way up to Minnesota. That includes Kansas, Arkansas, South Dakota, North Dakota. It's a huge 35 cents an acre. That's a giveaway, and it was given on the blood of Haitian people. We need to ensure as a country that we reward Haiti and support Haiti going forward. No reason why we should be piecemealing our support. It should be robust, it should be strong, and we should be giving even more.
Absolutely. And he said support. He didn't say occupy. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Commissioner, for your time. I know that your time is valuable, especially while you're running, but we appreciate your time coming on. We appreciate you and the dialogue. No hard feelings over here. We all cool.
None.
We ain't got no problems over here. We just here to just bring the information to the people and the information you did bring. So we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right.
So,
what's Mama?
It was a little tense, girl. A little tense. But we good. We got through it, and we're gonna do what we're gonna do. So next week we do have what? We do have.
So we may have 3 of the candidates next week. We're trying to confirm their times. So we may have, so they agreed to come and speak with us. Whether or not they'll be able to do it next week is what we're working on. So we've had conversation with Sheila Sheffield McCormick, Commissioner Barbara Sharif, and Representative Amari Hardy.
And we also have Elvin Dowling. He also said that he would be available to speak too. So we have, 4 of them already they haven't committed, but we have to come back with times. But they have.
And I was going to add that I've also been in conversation with Bobby DeBose, Representative Bobby DeBose.
Nice.
And so hopefully we will be able to set up a time so we can get you to hear from all of the candidates.
Absolutely.
And then you can make your own informed decision about which one of them you want to support.
You know what? Emmanuel Morrell too said that he was going to be able to participate.
Yes.
And also Phil Jackson. We got a response back from Phil Jackson.
Good work. And that's what he was like. Y'all said y'all gonna vote for women. I was like, I didn't say that, right? Not that I don't support the women in the race, but I know I ain't say that.
I said I really want to see a Black woman in that seat. That's what I said.
I want to see the most qualified candidate in that seat, and if it turns out that it's a Black woman, then I'm here for it. But I didn't put no gender roles on mine because I actually was, and I did say that I'm supporting a male candidate, which I have not made that name public,
Right.
because I don't know if that person wants people to know that I'm out here supporting them, and I didn't even tell them that. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I always do. I think it's very important for you to know how a person vote for issues and what type of issues they vote against, what it is that they didn't support. All of that is important. So we just need to have you need to be well informed when you decide on who you want to vote.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want folks throwing away their votes.
We sure don't. We sure don't.
Votes in this election. There's so many candidates, and I know some of us like to go against the grain and just want to vote for somebody just because you can. People, there are all different types of polls out there.
That's
right.
What I
mean? There are, I think the top 4 or 5 candidates are pretty consistent on all of the polls. I know you may love that candidate number 11, but whoever comes out of the primary is basically
so many.
primary.
While I am I think that I am like an educated voter, so I do want the best qualified candidate, but I will not, and I'm going to double down on me wanting a Black woman in a seat. Okay, if I can get Black women on.
We were talking about this seat. So is it that are you saying you want a Black woman in this seat? Because there are a lot of Black women in the seats. So.
I know. I mean, well, okay.
We want to know if you want a Black woman in this seat.
Okay.
Well, I ain't said we want to know. It's whether or not you want one in this seat, not us.
Okay. So not us. Okay. So this seat, I would like to see a Black woman. I know that there's 3 of them running.
There's 3 of them. Mm-hmm.
And I believe that all 3 are qualified in my opinion. So like,
I know 2. I know of 2 of the 3. I heard of the name of the third one, but I know 2 of the 3.
I wasn't gonna come up here.
Enough.
Okay, so I did my research because I didn't want to come up in here and be boo-boo the fool. So
no, it's not about doing the research. I'm saying I've had personal conversations with 2 of the 3.
Okay.
I know 2 of the 3 well enough that I do believe either one of them will be great at the job. I have not had a conversation with the 3rd female in the race, so I'm not going to speak on that person because I have not had a conversation with them. Is all I'm saying.
Okay. So I guess your conversation, just a little bit of conversation. Well, I know one.
No, I don't know the 2 of the 3 that I know. I've had more than a little bit of conversation. I actually know those women.
Okay, so I know
them.
I actually know one of the 3 women fairly well. So and I like her. So whatever. So somebody's trying to ask me what the name of the women. So there's 3 women running. There's a Priscilla Taylor running. There's Sheila Sheffers McCormick running, and then we have Barbara Sharif.
Commissioner Barbara Sharif.
Yes, excuse me. Thank you for correcting. Commissioner Barbara Sharif running. So these 3 women are running. I only met one, and I've tried to reach out. I'm going to reach out to the other one, the others. And but from the information that I've read, I feel like these Black women are all that in a bag of chips, in my opinion.
Black girl magic.
I'm all about that Black girl magic. However, I'm gonna be honest. I do really want the most qualified. So, and I think the women are qualified. I think the men are qualified too, but I just, I'm partial to women.
So that's Miss Swagoo says, I'm gonna put it up. She goes like
2 out of 3 are qualified. So you didn't, Miss Swagoo.
All right. So we had some serious moments. We had some soap opera moments, and we had all of that during this conversation.
You saw. I was like, I said, listen, I don't need to be educated. I was a little, I was like,
no, we do need to be educated. So I was like, well, I do. I'm gonna just say I need to be educated.
Well, then you be educated all you want to.
Okay. I need to be educated.
I took it personal. Okay, it's all right. And I took
no offense. I was like, thank you, educate me.
I wasn't being sensitive. I was feeling like it came out from left field, and then he was like, "Don't be sensitive. I'm not talking about you."
Right? He told you don't be sensitive. There was some sexism in that talk, but that's okay. You know what I'm saying?
I wasn't being sensitive. It was heated for a little bit.
Emotional.
It was heated just a little bit. So
he was like, he said, I heard y'all talking about y'all want a woman and stuff like that. Talking about I signed some checks. He said, the man said, I got a son named Dale. Hell, maybe my son signed some checks. I was like, oh Lord, brother, you just go mess the children up, right? But I mean, but that besides that, It was a very good conversation. He
It
did
was.
stand on his record. He talked about what it is that he's done and what he
Right.
plans on doing. So, you know, we always got to look at the whole person. And then, you know, we can't always seek perfection because nobody's perfect. We're not perfect. So, you know, this whole thing about this perfect candidate with no blemishes on their record, yeah, don't keep looking for that, because everybody gonna have something that you may or may not like about them, but you just need to make sure that they are really gonna go there and do the people's work when they get into that seat.
Absolutely. And I think it was important for him to clear that up about the baby, because, you know, the mamas wasn't, you know, we were in our feelings.
The mamas were like, wait, what?
That baby under the bus. So I had to, like, you know, we had to talk about it. But yeah, he spoke on his record. Oh, Mona Lisa asked, why do y'all think there's so many people running for this seat? It's a coveted seat system.
It's a coveted seat, and once you get it,
it's not even about the money. It's about the, what was it? What will you always
power and influence, man, proximity to power. And then the thing is, like, once you win it, unless you do something so outrageous, you're probably going to have the seat for like another 20, 30 years or whatever until you pass away. So yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, that's the thing with those seats.
Yeah, it's a
once you're in, you're in, minus doing something real ridiculous or passing away. So you know,
but
you're in
apparently now in politics you can still do something ridiculous and still retain your seat.
Well, I don't know about if you're a Democrat, if you could do something ridiculous and still keep your seat, but I know if you're a Republican, you could do all kinds of stuff. You can hang out with little kids and fly them all over the place and give them money for stuff that's illegal, and you still get to keep your job. And then you could have no committee appointments and still keep your job, meaning you over there doing nothing.
And talk all that trash and still keep your job. Okay, wish death on the president and still keep your job. Child, hot mess.
Yeah, they said that is dangerous because these politicians don't grow with the time. That is absolutely dangerous.
That's true.
And the example that came to mind about keeping the seat for a long time is a Cori Bush. The seat that she won, the person who she beat had been in the seat 20 years, and his dad was in the seat probably 30 years before that. Yep. So that's how, like, once you get into these seats, it can be again, short of like maybe a big shift that happened with the progressive stuff in 2020, or somebody dying or doing something. You know, you can be in these seats for a very long time, because the seat Cori Bush took, that family had been in the seat for almost 50 years.
There's a lot of us that don't trust politicians.
Yeah, and then Swagger was saying that we need to keep, you know, hold these candidates accountable, and that's absolutely true, right? That's absolutely true.
Yes, that's right. And you know, part of not trusting them is holding them accountable, trying to you know, get them to, you know, put them in a position to have a conversation. So, you know, we all about that. You know, I had to be admonished by my co-host.
Yeah. Well, I don't, you know, hey, we were all getting told today, right? I was getting the hit on the hand too. I was
you admonished me earlier today, so I guess, you know, you had to.
Was that off or on camera?
Oh no, that was off camera. That was
okay. All right, then. Look, like I tried not to do that for real.
You know what? It was good. I think, you know, I think now people see that our goal is not to, you know, be like put one candidate over the other. Our goal is to really, you know, listen and find out, and we really want to know what your vision for the district is. We got questions, and it's a greatly minority district. I mean, like, we need to make sure that who gets in there really make sure that the minorities are on the agenda. So that's all, you know. That's what it's about. It is what it is. So.
Mona Lisa wants to know, how do we hold them accountable? We call him on the carpet, you know. He did start on that red light camera question, because he know his record on that red light camera was not a pretty one. So that's all that. That's what that was about.
And you know what? You can't be afraid to ask the questions. We the people. It is what it is. We are the people, so you can't be afraid to ask the questions.
Thank you, Tamiko.
Thank you, Tamiko.
Yeah, we all gotta go because we've been talking way longer than we planned on it. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. So again, we'll post when the other candidates have confirmed their dates and time with us. We'll let you guys know. We hope you all come back and join us.
And I hope you ask the questions too. Don't be just asking for the Commissioner Holness. Y'all need to come back from these other candidates too, honey.
That's right. We the people. That's right. That's right. That's right, Mona Lisa. Trade schools and coding. We the people. I'm here for it.
All right, y'all. So
folks.
On the flip side, talk to you later.
See y'all this week.
Evening.
Be good.